that as people, if we're open to those opportunities, they're there.
Yep, they are.
So
people are always looking for talent.
Looking for talent, or something to do, or collaborate with somebody, and take what their dreams are to the next level. So tell me about a couple of the projects that have come out of being here, or the people that you've met from here. Because I know you have a lot of stuff on your plate. I see a variety of different items in this office that have nothing to do with the restaurant. So tell us about some of those and how those came about.
They're not, but they are. I think my other full-time project is my Super Mamas community, which is it's a podcast and an online community and an offline event series that I do with Latina moms. Well, not just Latina moms, I think with moms who are like-minded, I think culture is a big part of who we are. It's one of our pillars, but I think other moms also relate. So I think that's the biggest one that I got here. It just relates. My dad used to have a newspaper, and the reason why my dad started a newspaper was because he wanted to place an ad on La Opinión, which was back then, the biggest Spanish-speaking newspaper there was in Los Angeles.
I'm familiar with it, sure.
And he went and they asked, he's like, how much I want to have the back cover, like the main back cover. And I think he told me they quoted something him like $10,000 a week or something like that. And he was like, that's $40,000 a month. He's like, for that amount of money, I can make my own newspaper. And he did.
Good for him.
So he distributed like 200,000 units through all the Oaxacan restaurants or the Oaxacan businesses. He created and he put himself in the back and front cover. And he was the number one advertiser, but then he started taking money from advertisers as well, and he turned it into a business. And he was like, every month he needed to invest money into it. And he considered that like a marketing expense, and saying, instead of giving this money to another identity, I just invested in my own thing. And he told me, like, now you have Super Mamas and you're not even investing. It's like what does it take to, open a podcast? It's not much, equipment. And then it's not like you have, $10,000 a month that you're putting into it, So it just became like an avenue for us to speak about our lives as moms, working moms, and also opened up to other opportunities that are happening in today's sort of marketplace and this whole of like influencer world and content creation world that's happening, and how people want to consume content in so many different ways, and building a community around it. And it's become its own thing.
So how many events are you doing a year with that?
3. But one is really big, massive. That's
the one coming
May 12th.
Up, right? Yeah.
We have 1,500 people that we expect.
Wow.
And then the other ones are really like small. It's just 300.
It's interesting. The one thing that continues to carry through with you is just your sense of community and wanting to build that community. It's very clear with Super Mamas that's what you want to do. What's the feedback you've gotten from people within that group about? Is it something, if it went away, it seems like there'd be a lot of disappointed people, right?
I don't even want to think about if that happened. It's just I think this, this sort of world that we live in today, people just they're looking for connections and people who they can relate to. And if they've, come across a community that they're like, oh, this is my community, it could just become like their safe place. And Super Mamas has definitely been a safe place for a lot of moms.
Now, are the ones involved in that, are they just local here? Are they around the country, around the
world?
world?
The majority are local, just because my sister and I are based in Los Angeles, so we bring an LA perspective to everything we speak. But we have moms from all over. Chicago is huge for us. San Diego is big. New York is another area where we did a giveaway recently with Delta, where we're going to fly in a mom from Syracuse.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
It's my ESL. Don't judge. Syracuse, New York. So she's flying in from there. She entered the giveaway and she was the winner. But we had entries from Chicago. We had entries from a lot from the East Coast. We're just because it's a podcast and you can hear it everywhere. We have a lot of moms from Canada who listen to us.
Yeah, it's incredible. What's resonating with me right now is like these are big things. That just you've rattled off the tip of your tongue, like, oh, we did this deal with Delta. We got these moms coming in from here. These are big things that have come out of, your restaurant here.
Yeah.
And this is a huge movement, our business, our community that you've created. It's pretty incredible. What are a couple of the other things that have come out of this? I know you got a couple other little projects out there.
Well, I have my own sort of blog brand that I've created. I do a lot of content creation too surrounding food, and that came about because I wanted to share the recipes of my family and just easy things you could do at your home. So I have my blog. It's called Mole and More, and there I share recipes and I share a little bit of my house and I share a little bit of my family, and it's just a way for someone to kind of connect, and then that grew into a book agent came into the restaurant and was really interested in my family's story and in the restaurant, and we recently got a huge book deal from Abrams, which is a New York publishing company, which I still kind of was in awe how that whole process came together. And it's going to be releasing fall 2019, which we're so excited about. Can
you talk about that process? Because to me, it's fascinating, that here you were and they'd come knocking on the door. I mean,
yeah.
What did that feel like? And what was the process? I think some of us aspire for that opportunity.
Well, so a guy came to the door, asked for me, presented himself. He's like, "Hi, my name is Jonah. I am a book agent, and I'd love to represent you if you're ever interested in having a book." And I was like, but this was 2 years ago that he came. And I was like, "Oh, sure. Book sounds cool." I have this thing, but I have this thing to where my brother has this thing to an extreme, to where we don't like to do things that everyone else is doing. As soon as I catch myself kind of copying things, I kind of get shut off from it, which is why it's taking me so long to even bring out a Supermama shirt, because I didn't just want to put a Supermama's logo on it and do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something different, and I couldn't know what that was in my head. So a lot of restaurants are taking out cookbooks, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, but so then we have it's a cookbook, so then what? You know what I mean? It was just kind of sure, sounds cool.
But you weren't excited about it.
Right. And I wanted to do something different. And then I just, he kept emailing me, hey, whenever you want to do a book, let me know. And then it just sort of, I became a mom, and I had a kid, and then things started happening, different projects came together, and then I have a great friend, one of my best friends who I've known for 10 years. He's a food writer. I've met him when he was just starting off 10 years ago, who was the editor at Vice and who's written for every single magazine out there. He recently just left Vice as an editor, and I met with his girlfriend over lunch, and he's like, well, why don't you talk to Javi? And I was like, you're right. Why don't I talk to Javi about doing a book together? And he was able to now do it because he wasn't under contract with Vice, and I couldn't. Also, I'm not going to sit and write a book. That's another.
Sure. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and also some people can be good writers and do that. I don't think. Maybe in the future, I don't know. But he was like, yeah, why don't we just do a proposal? I'm like, we should do a proposal, and then let's send it out. So literally, was a book proposal looks like this. You pretty much put what your book is going to be like in maybe 40 pages. I have it around here. I'll show you what it looks like. But we put it together. We talk about what the book's going to be about. We put pictures. We put recipes. We talk about who we are. And then the agent sends it to publishers.
Sure.
And then if publishers are interested, they'll call back. So, with the blessing of God, several were interested, and then I went to New York to meet with 7 of them, and then I flew out to San Francisco to meet another one, and then they all sent out their offer, and then I looked at them, and then I decided to go with the offer that I thought was an offer worthwhile.
Sure.
Or not just worthwhile, but who we would be real partners, and just there's so many factors when you decide on a publisher. There was 3 that I had a really hard time deciding between because they're both incredible and their rosters are like crazy. But at the end, I went with Abrams, and I'm very, very happy, pleased with my decision. They are an incredible house, and I'm just so happy that we're going to be working together. So then that happens, and then, you go through a contract, and then, you figure out, who, if you're going to write it yourself, if you're going to have a ghostwriter, like we're having with Javi, and who your photographers are going to be, and then it takes you, from the moment you deliver the manuscript, and then it takes a year for that to be published.
Right, wow.
So that's how you do a book.
Pretty amazing. Well, I was partnered with Bill Walton, the NBA All-Star, for many years, and he was in the process of writing a book that finally came out. So I only saw, I don't know, the tough part because he was writing it.
Like sitting down. Yeah, I mean, some people do that. I what's beautiful about working with a writer is obviously, you have to pay them for their time. Sure. But what's really great is just like you talk, and then they write your voice down on paper. So they just transcribe everything for you. And, it's pretty cool because I'm like, I can write 10 books this way. If someone buys them, obviously, I don't. And then comes someone that's actually interested in the book.
I think what's amazing about a book in this industry is that, those recipes are family recipes, and, it tells your story, and you're able to hand that story on. If I was going to write a book, it would be a business book, and hopefully my kids would learn something from it.
Yeah.
But I'm not really passing down any family legacy. So what a great opportunity you have to be able to pass along, not only for your kids, but your siblings' kids.
When
and
we were
family.
in our meetings, really that's what that really is what I want to do. I want this book to be something that my son cooks out of, that when he grows up, he takes this book and he's like, oh, this is what my grandma would cook. So let me cook this for my family. Or, God forbid he ends up with a non-Oaxacan woman. She can,
well, you are in LA.
No, it's a joke. Well, but not really. She can, look at this book and say, oh, wow, this is the book. This is the food you grew up eating, and understand a little bit more about him.
Yeah, that's great. So I got to talk about your michelada mix.
Oh,
so
yes.
I came in the other day, had a great lunch with you and your husband. It was phenomenal, and walked out and grabbed a couple bottles. I'm hooked on it. My wife's hooked on it. Our friends are hooked on it.
Good. The red mix, right?
The red
mix.
One. Yeah. But you guys really figured that out. And so, restaurant business, book, your super mamas, and then you've got this michelada mix. You're winning on all fronts here.
That's a project that my brother has taken upon himself full time. And really, I talk about it, and it's me, but it's not me. Yeah. It's my whole family behind it, and I have incredible people that work with me that help me make this happen. My little sister's in the studio. I would call it the studio with us, and she has crazy great ideas, and she also brings a different perspective because she's way younger than I am. So I'm always go to her for so do you think the young people would like this? And she has a set of skills that I don't. So my older sister also has a different perspective, also she's really funny. She's really, really, really funny. So the show works great too. The Super Mama show works great because her and I have completely different parenting styles. We're completely different people, but you can either relate to her, relate to me, or relate to both of us.
Yeah.
My brother's michelada mix was one of the things that we've always served at the restaurant. It's been an idea that we had for forever. We decided to bottle it one day and just launch a brand with it, and we're having so much fun. He is crazy creative, so he's been able to really grow the brand on his own.
And we had a nice, enjoyable lunch together with you, and I had a chance to meet your brother, and you told me that story. I know it's a we collaboration, which is great that you're able to do so many things with your family, and you guys continue to collaborate and create these successful opportunities. I'm really impressed with his social media and his event in LA and what he does with that.
He has a huge event coming up on May 5th.
Yeah.
That's 4,000 people.
The branding with the bus and everything. I mean, what a great job. What a great brand.
ilovemicheladas.com.
Why not?
See? We're going to just do iloveanything.com.
The only problem is I needed more stores so I can just walk in and get it,
Yeah.
There's a lot of I won't say there's a lot of competitors, but the one or two competitors, they have good distribution. And I think I sent you a picture. I was kind of moving their stuff around on the shelves and putting your stuff in front.
Well, I think that it's a great market to start to be in, and I think once there's like